welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys an updated brow routine. Yes, I feel like it's been a minute since I've done a brow routine, and my brow routine honestly changes all the time. It's either I'm adding a product or I'm taking away a product. So in this case, I took away a product that I used in my last brow routine video, but I've added another product, so I'm super excited. I'm really excited for you guys to see today's video, and I also filmed this makeup look today as well, which I'm really excited for you guys to see. If that video is up, I will link it down below in the description box, and if not, it's coming, girl. It's coming. So we're gonna get into the video. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Let me show you guys my techniques for my brows. Let me know if you guys do anything that I do as well. I feel like my technique is also very common, but maybe it's not. So let me know down below. Before we get into the video, please don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you guys have not already. And of course, without further ado, if you guys would like to see how I feel in my brows, then just keep on watching. Really quickly, I needed to jump into a voiceover. I'm actually editing this video right now and realized that I've been seeing the first part of this brow routine, which sucks because I didn't even realize it wasn't recording. But basically all I did was just apply some of the Benefit 24-hour brow setter into my brows. It's just a clear brow gel that holds your brow hairs in place. So let's continue. The first thing that I like to do is actually just underline my brow, if that makes sense. I like to do that because it's almost like a guide for me in a way. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I wanted to mention that I'm using the lightest amount of pressure, you guys. Super, super light. Like I'm holding the pencil all the way at the end. So holding it down here, you're going to get light pressure. If you hold your pencil all the way here, you're going to get a really intense pressure and you're going to get really harsh lines. So keep in mind where you're holding even your makeup brushes. But in this case with your pencil, you want to hold it at the end. I'm also not just dragging it across with one swipe. I'm actually just using little strokes. Okay, you guys, so now when I get to this area over here, like I mentioned before, this area is super sparse, but I'm supposed to technically have hair there. So I'm going to keep the brow pencil going right underneath there. I'm not going to like go up, if that makes sense, and draw the line. I'm going to keep the line exactly where I have it and just make that curve, because what's going to happen is once I make the curve here, it's going to go back to where it's actually supposed to be and meet with this hair on the tail, if that makes sense. So now that I get to the tail of my brow, what I like to do is, this is where I like my brow to be the most intense because it is the end, and I do drag my tail out just a little bit longer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is start to fill in the brow, and how I'm going to do that is, again, using the lightest pressure as possible. When it comes to the front of the eyebrow, I actually like to do strokes going straight up like this. And then once I get towards this area here where the brow starts to grow this way, I'll start to do strokes that way, if that makes sense. So basically you just want to follow your natural hair strokes of your brows, whether they're going up to the side. Honestly, at this point, the front of your brows should be going up because that's why we use the brow gel. And then, of course, this over here should be going to the side. So the point is to make it look like natural hair strokes. And the best way to do that is to just make the strokes in the same direction your hair naturally grows or naturally shapes, if that makes sense. And at first, you guys, you're going to be tempted to press harder and put more pressure because it's going to look like you're not doing anything. But trust me, you are. Do light pressure and it'll start to fill in a little by little. But it's better to do it that way than to just put pressure and start to fill it in, or even fill it in this way. That is the biggest mistakes that you see with brows, is just like filling it in like this, like if you were drawing in a shape. Like, girl, no. Like, hair-like strokes is going to give you the most beautiful brow, very fluffy and natural. So keep at it, and I'm telling you, you're going to see everything start to come together. You kind of see how I'm talking about? This over here looks a little bit fuller than the sparse area that we have here. this point, of course, obviously we still have a little sparseness throughout the brow, but don't even worry about that. You want to fill them in lightly because, again, it's always easier to build the product and add more product than it is to take away. You don't want to have to wipe off your entire brow if you make a mistake. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. And now what I'm going to do is actually outline the top of my brow. Okay, so for the top of my brow, what I like to do is start in this area here. I never start all the way in the front of my brow. So we're going to start here, and of course I'm just going to sketch it on just like I did at the bottom. Just like that, and then we're going to start to do the arch. So this is where you can really play with your brow. I prefer a more rounded arch. Some people like a more sharp arch, but I like mine rounded, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And then once you get to the end of your brow, the line that we did at the bottom should now connect with the top. Okay, so at this point, the brow is pretty much shaped. It's already made, if that makes sense. So the shape is there, the arch is there, everything is looking good. So now what I'm going to go in with is the Glossier Brow Flick, which looks like this. This is just a felt tip brow marker, if you will. That's what I would kind of call it. Super, super fine. This is what it looks like. And I just recently discovered this. I've seen a lot of YouTubers using it, and I was like, dang, I want to try it. So basically what this does is it's a marker that actually gives you a hair-like stroke. I hold it literally at the edge of the pen because this is super pigmented, but I kind of want to just show you guys what it does. So you basically do like hair-like strokes, just like that. So as you guys can see, the more pressure you put, the more the stroke is going to be darker, but the lighter pressure you put, it's just like a stroke of hair. So mine is in the shade brown, and what I do is I hold it at the very, very tip of the Brow Flick pen, and what I do is I only press the point, and not even press, but I kind of flick it. You guys see what that did there? Do you see the brow strokes right here? It basically just gives you the illusion of a more fuller, thicker brow, even though that's technically not your brow hair, girl. We just faked it, which is okay. Listen, we all want that fluffy brow, but not all of us were blessed with fluffy brows. When it comes to the end of my brow, I don't do too many strokes, but what I do is I actually stroke to the side. So just like with the brow pencil, whichever way your hair is growing, that's the way you want to flick and fill. And I'm kind of messy with this because it's hair-like strokes. You don't want it to be too perfect. So now what I'm going to do is take my pencil one more time, and I'm just going to fill in the places where I feel like it just needs to be filled in a little bit more. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with my brow. At this point, I do have one more step to do, but what I like to do is carve them out first because then you can actually see how your brow is going to look. Not only is the concealer going to clean up your brow and arch it more, it's actually going to highlight it. So you're going to be able to see where you need to fill in, where it looks good, because it might look good just like this, but I can't quite tell because I don't have the concealer on. So to clean up my brows, I always use the NARS. This is the Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This one is in the shade Creme Brulee, and this is what the concealer looks like right here. It is just a pot concealer, and it's honestly amazing for this, you guys. It's not too thick. It's just like the perfect consistency to carve out your eyebrows. So I like to do this with a Morphe brush. This is the Morphe M421 brush, and this is what it looks like right here. It's a super flat brush. So what I like to do is dip directly into the pot of concealer, and then I wipe it off on the back of my hand. So I dip the brush in there, pick a product, go ahead and spread it out on my hand, and I actually coat both sides of the brush. That way the brush is super thin, and then we're gonna go straight in. So I like to first just put the concealer right at the bottom. I'm not even touching close to the eyebrow. It just kind of, I don't know, like trains my hand, I guess, on the motion that we're gonna be doing. And it's also nerve-wracking when you're actually carving out your brows because you can completely ruin your brows at this point. So I like to start at the bottom first, and then I work the product up. This is also going to help just in case you have way too much concealer on your brush. If you're using something, I don't know, something like Born This Way from Too Faced or Shape Tape from Tarte, if you have way too much on your brush and you put your brush right here, the product is so liquidy that some of the liquid can actually seep into your brow hairs and then your brows are ruined. So I always like to start down here just to spread out the product a little bit. And just like with the brow pencil, you guys, when I'm filling in my brows, I'm not going straight through with the concealer. I'm doing it in sections. It's just easier that way. Okay, so once I went ahead and carved out my brow, I'm going to go ahead and buff in the rest of that concealer. And I'm going to be using the Morphe M173 brush. Here's what the brush looks like right here. And I love this brush for this purpose. I also use it for the concealer or eyeshadow primer that I use to cover my entire lid. So what I'm going to do is towards the front of my brow, what I like to do is brush it towards my nose, if that makes sense. And then I brush the rest up, and what this does is it actually helps to fade any harsh line right here in the front. That way we don't have those box brows and they kind of look a little bit less structured right here. Then with the rest, nothing fancy. I'm just going to blend the rest down, if that makes sense, because of course we're going to be using a concealer for our lids anyway, so everything will kind of just mesh together as one. So now what I'm going to do is actually carve out the top of my brow. This is not for everybody. Not everybody does this, but I personally like a clean look when it comes to my eyebrows. So I am going to go ahead and carve out this section. The only thing is I do not bring the concealer all the way here. Like, I don't clean up this entire part of my brow, if that makes sense. So I'm going to kind of just put some down first like that, just to get the motion. And that's exactly where I like to start it. So I don't conceal from all the way from the front. I like to start from here. And of course, little by little, bring it down to the brow. Just like that. So can you guys see the difference that it made now that we cleaned up the brows? So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and fade out that concealer as well. And I'm going to just be blending it towards my hairline, if that makes sense. And then what I like to do is just blend the rest of the concealer kind of towards the front of the brow. That way there's not any space between the fact that I actually started the concealer back here and not all the way up here. I just don't like to have that super structured look in the beginning of my brow. And of course, the rest I'm just going to drag down just to make sure that tail is nice and arched and cleaned up. So one last step that I like to do, of course, I could leave my brows just like this. They look cute. They're not too much, but it drives me insane when I have a little bit of sparseness over here. I don't know why. I just like that area to be really nice and defined. Up here, I don't mind. Like this right here can stay the way that it is. So the last step that I like to do is brow powder. And you guys, this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo. Please do not judge me. Can we just make a promise that we're not going to judge each other on this channel? Because this brow product has been through it. It is completely done, but honestly, these are expensive, girl. Like, I want to finish it completely. So I do have another one, but this is what the one that I'm using currently looks like. She has been through it, honey. But hey, listen. Girl, that shows that I love this product. So what I like to do is actually mix the two colors together, even though there's not really much to mix. But I like to take the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is her duo brow brush. This is the number 12 brush. I'm going to mix the two colors together. And what I do is kind of just go in little stroking motions. That is the trick to brows, girl. Everything in little motions. And I just like to fill in those sparse areas. That's all. Super simple. The brow powder is like a brow filler. It is super easy to use and it is so convenient. Just like that. So with no additional product on the brush, I'm going to work everything kind of like up again because I feel like it gets all pushed down once you do all that work. But also keep in mind, once I completely finish my entire makeup, I usually go back in with a little bit more brow powder or a little bit more clear brow gel, because what happens is, since I do my brows first, anytime I've completely finished a look, by the time I put all the bronzer, face powder, set everything in place, my brows always tend to look a little bit lighter because, of course, obviously the powder gets into my brows. So I usually always go over with the brow gel. So that's basically it, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and do the other brow, but really quickly, I just want to show you guys the difference. So here's one brow completely filled in, concealed, and here's one brow with nothing. She looks so sad. And this stain on my lid though, why do pink eyeshadows stain so bad? Okay guys, so I went ahead and did my other brow off camera. So here are both brows all complete, and that's basically it, you guys. It's not super complicated, but I would say it's not also the easiest thing in the world, but trust me, everybody's brows are different. Everybody uses different products. These are just the products that work for me. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video and found it a little bit helpful, learned a little bit of new techniques, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching me snatch my brows. Now I just have to go apply some concealer to prep them for some eyeshadow, and I'm going to jump into filming another video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!